Yeah, the Raiders traveling cross country to play the Indianapolis Colts. Raiders 1-2, Colts 2-1. Colts are favored by 6.5. Got some injuries though, Darius Leonard, their fine second-year linebacker, is questionable. So is T.Y. Hilton. That's going to be a concern. Another concern is the Colts are allowing 5.2 yards per carry against them. That's 29th in the league. So Raiders have a chance,
With Jacobs in there.
Give him the ball, man.
Yeah.
Give Josh Jacobs the ball. They haven't. I understand last week he was sick. What did you say? He lost like 10 pounds from being sick?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they limited him, 14, 15 carries? Mm-hmm. You got to give it to him, man. You got to, if you're going to win this game, because, Jacoby Brissett's 3 straight games with 2 TDs. I mean, I see that number 7 out there throwing touchdown passes. I'm like, whoa, I haven't seen this since Burt Jones, right. Number 7 throwing touchdowns out there. But both teams are we're looking for big years. Drama's just filled both of them. With the Andrew Luck retiring at the end of the preseason, you're like, oh my gosh, and then the whole mess with Antonio Brown with the Raiders. So these teams are no strangers to distractions. But just look at at the Raiders. I mean, they haven't coped with the distractions as good as the Colts have. Oakland is the bottom in the league in offense and defense. Their offense is 27th in the league in total yards. Defense 25th in total yards. Colts 19th in offense, 17th in defense. So they're right there in the kind of the middle of the pack. They're playing at home. They've got a little momentum. I think I'm going to pick the Colts on this one.
The Colts are still saying the thing that the Raiders have issues is converting on third down.
They're pretty bad.
They are really bad on third down conversion. The running game, like we were saying, Jacobs was sick, lost like 10 pounds, so he wasn't rushing the ball. But, I have to pick the Colts because just that hum, and it's totally, just opposite of where the teams are going, and John Gruden has a plan, but I'm, not seeing it yet. But the Colts have definitely coped with the quarterback issue.
Yep.
And, just the injury bugs that hit him. Hopefully, T.Y. Hilton will be able to play, be able to help out. But, I got to pick the Colts.
Yeah. I mean, Derek Carr's stats weren't that bad last week. I mean, his quarterback rating was 103, but, in the year, 72 of 98, 699 yards, 4 touchdowns, but those 3 picks hurt him. I wish they would make a bigger commitment to running the ball. And I know that's hard to do with, Gruden, who likes to throw the ball a lot, but, they just need to try to establish their ground game here, because I think this is a team that you could do it on, a team that's allowing that many yards, especially with Leonard could be out. I mean, you need to take advantage of that and try to pound them, And this kid, got him in the first round for a reason. He's that talented. So I would just hand Josh Jacobs the ball like 25, 30 times this game. Like, okay, it's time to be an NFL running back. I mean, I think if they did, the game would be a lot closer. They may even win it, because that's how you win the game on the road. You go out there and play defense and run the ball, take the other team's crowd out of it, just be methodical. If they would stick to that game plan, they could both come out of here with identical records. What do you think?
I agree, but I'm still picking the Colts in this game.
Yeah.
There's, I think the better team on the field, and that's who I'm picking as the Colts.
That's something till the Raiders make a commitment to run the ball, which
right.
I just don't think they're going to make that commitment. They're going to, like I said, they're that whole thing with AB could have just derailed their whole season and just put them in disarray. Allow that losing mentality to spread in that locker room, and just the way it was all handled, it was just a mess. It was a circus from the time he got there. you just can't bring malcontents on your team and hope for the best all the time. You just got to see them for what they are a lot of times. And, they were dazzled by his talent and it bit them. So what's the next team you want to look at, next game?
The mighty Chargers of LA going to Miami, Southern Florida. So we'll talk about this game briefly. Jim, if I was the Chargers, I'd be looking forward to this game in Miami. Kind of rebuild your team. Kind of hate to say it, I don't want to say scrimmage, but
rebuild your momentum.
But yes. The mighty Chargers of Los Angeles going to sunny Miami.
That's right.
Where the Chargers are 1-2 and the Dolphins are 0-3, and I mean
that's a long plane flight though.
Oh yeah.
That's that usually when teams have to go from the west to the east, it really affects them more than going from east to west.
And plus, it's an early game too. It's
jet lagged. So, still going with the Chargers. I mean,
you think?
The Dolphins have been outscored in their first 3 games by 117 points. That's the worst point differential since 1950. I mean, we are looking at epic ineptitude here on the Dolphins defense. But I mean, that's because they traded all those guys. They just gutted their team.
Save money.
No, it was about to get draft picks. It's about to hasten the rebuilding project because they got 3 first-round picks next year and 2 seconds or something. That's what
is that count if they get the number one?
Yeah. I mean but right now their season, what's the hope? Because they're 31st in offense. Like, how could that be? But Jets are actually worse than they are, and they're 32nd in defense. But you want to see, how much fight Rosen has. You want to see the talent on display. Like I said, they're terrible. They're the offensive line is bad. But they did make a pretty good showing in Dallas last week
for the
first half.
First half, and then the Cowboys kind of woke up and said,
scored 35 points. But you probably shouldn't let Fitzpatrick see the field anymore. I mean, it's all about Rosen. Drake. You want to see what he can do. Williams, but as if you're a Chargers fan, you've got to find somebody else can catch a football besides Keenan Allen. I mean, he is showing out. 29 receptions for 404 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, he was the only one who could catch a football last week. I mean, what was going on with those guys? Just dropping passes, but the venerable Phillip Rivers is still putting up good numbers. 77 of 116 for 944 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's the last one standing in that draft class with all those quarterbacks that year. He is right there, and I always thought, coming into the draft, he would be the best quarterback out of those 3 of him and Roethlisberger and Manning. He hasn't won the Super Bowls the other 2 has, but his talent as far as being able to throw the football is easily on par with those 2 guys. He's never had the weapons that they've had, but the talk is that Melvin Gordon's coming back, or did he finally sign today?
As far as I know, he's not signed yet, but that could change, when we do the show, when it happens and all
right.
that. But
what are the Chargers favored by what?
15.5.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they'll cover that.
Oh, yeah. But this definitely has to be hopefully a good morale boost for the Chargers because, to lose, to Detroit, in Detroit.
Yeah.
And,
I want to see this defensive line take off, because this defense is supposed to be a lot better than this, too, for the Chargers. I mean, where's Bosa? Where's the other pass rushers? Where's all this talent? Because, like we said going in, this was supposed to be the most talented team in the league from, as far as the whole 53-man roster. But I think they should handle this with pretty much ease. As long as the Dolphins don't quit, if Rosen can keep those guys involved, keep them in the game,
encouraged.
that's what you want to see. If when you have this lack of talent, you want to see which dogs will bite and which ones won't. If they're going to lay down and quit, you're just making it easy for the general manager. Okay, well, we'll get rid of these guys and replace them with guys that want to play. But that's what you're looking for. Right now you want to see who wants to play football and who's just out there cashing checks. But I'm still going to keep my eye on Josh Rosen. There was a reason he was in the top 10 pick, because the talent is there. And this right here will go a long way in seeing what kind of intestinal fortitude he has. Just lacing it up and going out there and facing what he's got to face behind this moribund offensive line. But that's all I have on this one. What's the next game you want to talk about?
The Washington Redskins going to play against the New York Giants.
Another bad game.
Yes. The Washington Redskins 0-3, that pathetic loss to the Bears on Monday night. That was just horrible. And then look at New York Giants, man. Everyone is just in love with what'll happen with their quarterback, Daniel Jones. What do you think?
Well, at this point, some people are hoping to see both rookie quarterbacks, but they're going to Redskins are not going to do that. They're going to keep Case Keenum coming out there, and they still think they have a chance at. But if if the Eagles and Cowboys keep winning, then they'll be forced to put the rookie in. But they keep saying he's not ready.
But they put him in plays, and he scored a couple of touchdowns as a non-quarterback. So he's got to be somewhat ready if you put him on the field. That's just me thinking out loud. But
the bright spot for them, I think they found a wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, man. 16 catches, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns. Nobody ever talked about him before the season or after the draft. But Washington's in pretty bad shape. They're 0-3. They've got 23rd ranked offense, even starting these veterans, and 26th ranked defense. They've got some high picks on that front seven. And with Josh Norman, what they're paying him, I thought they'd be a little better. Giants, on the other hand, 1-2, 7th ranked offense. Who saw that coming, right?
Right.
And 31st ranked defense. So they're allowing the most passing yards in the league. And for all the the hoopla I personally been giving their offensive line. Daniel Jones was sacked 5 times last week, but a lot of that's on him for holding the ball. And some of that, is the blitz packages that they dialed up.
And the thing is, with the running back out for the Giants, their offensive line has to step up, because that defense is going to definitely be going after them harder now because of Saquon Barkley out.
Well, the thing about it is, talent-wise, Washington's got more talent on their front seven than the Buccaneers do, and the Buccaneers got all over this kid, so. With Ryan Kerrigan and some of those guys, they may be able to, Montez Sweat, they may be able to put some pressure on the kid. But all eyes are basically, especially with it being a home game, all eyes are going to be on Daniel Jones. The story, the headlines, it's all going to be Daniel Jones all the time.
So I'm picking the Giants. They're favored by 3 against the Redskins. I think the Redskins will go 0-4.
Really?
So who do you have?
Well, the the kid, Daniel Jones, does look dynamic. But, you look over, they're averaging 420 yards a game offensively, but they're giving up 474. So, they're giving the 300 yards, they're averaging 300 yards a game passing. The Redskins are averaging 311. Rushing game is Redskins just, 48 yards a game. Come on. And they're allowing 142 rushing yards. But, Ingram's a nightmare to deal with, because he's a tight end. He's a slot guy. He's 23 receptions, 277 yards. I'm just going to go with. I think I'm going to go with the Giants on this one.
Okay,